Jill. I woke around 1 p.m. and just lay in bed another half hour. I felt around for my phone on the nightstand and woke it up. No messages. I tapped one out to Tyler. Me. Hey, you okay? Can I see you? Heart. Then about 20 minutes later, Tyler. I'm fine. Just need to rest. Talk to you later. Love you. I got up and dressed and went down the hall. Mom was in the kitchen doing dishes. Good afternoon. Hi. You getting sick? She turned off the tap and dried her hands with a dish rag, then put the back of her palm on my forehead. I'm fine. Just couldn't sleep. She looked me straight in the eyes. Can we talk? Lou's dad must have called. Busted. Okay. We went to the living room and sat on the opposite ends of the couch. It feels like something's off lately. Yeah? I just want to make sure you're okay. Yeah, everything's fine. The puckered slit in Tyler's belly. Totally. Amir. I woke up in his basement. The gross couch's upholstery felt more damp than usual. Tyler stood in his underwear, facing the scrying mirror, mumbling stuff I couldn't make out, but sounded like a series of questions. Body trembling. I sat up and the couch springs creaked beneath my weight. He twisted around. Hey, I said, how long have you been up? Doesn't matter. He walked over and slowly sat down on a half-broken lawn chair, fingering the swollen white-brown yellow bandage on his belly. They took it. Took what? My cutter. They took my cutter. I didn't know what to say to that, so I dropped it. How's your belly? It's fine. He leaned to his side, stretching an arm to his jeans on the floor, fishing into the pocket and removing his cigarettes and lighter. He pulled a butt from the pack and stuck it between his lips and lit up. Every movement and breath made the skin on his face tighten. Footsteps pounded upstairs. I pointed toward the sound. Does she know? About what? About getting fucking stabbed. He smiled, but his eyes were broken. She doesn't know anything. I really needed a shower. My skin was still crusted with dirt and Tyler's dried blood. Plus, I was starving. Plus, I didn't want to deal with Tyler's mom. I should probably peace, huh? No, Tyler said. Okay. There's something I need to do tonight, and I need your help. I almost put up a fight, but then he reached back into his jeans on the floor and pulled out a fresh bag of middies. So I smiled and stayed with him, because he had weed and I didn't. Lou. Mom and Dad sat me down and told me I couldn't go over to Jill's anymore. They said I could still be friends with her, but she needed to come to our house from now on. I didn't ask questions, just simmered blue. I was losing her room, her space, the particles of her I would clutch close and try and absorb. Like a clock dying, numbers frozen on its face were gone forever. I closed my eyes. I imagined my neck in a noose, blood leaving my wrists, water filling my lungs. Jill. Mom brought me to the outlet mall on the south cusp of town and bought me some new jeans and sneakers. We ate dinner at Pizzeria Uno and talked about movies and TV shows. Everything looked like Tyler's wound. A pile of shredded chipmunk crushed into the road, a woman's dress swishing in a gust, a wasp nest stuck to a corner beneath an awning, spaghetti and meatballs. Amir. After his mom was asleep, we got on our bikes and cut over the Lily Williams toward the abandonments. You sure you should be riding around right now? I asked. Why? You know why. No, I don't. Let's go. You really should probably go to the hospital or something. Hospitals are fucking stupid. So we rode on. The cemetery and surrounding woods felt rotten this time. The air smelled like piss. We got in the same way as before, crawling up the hill, cringing, imagining how the terrain was screwing up Tyler's wound, dodging the patrol, and slipping through the chain link. This way. We walked fast. He knew where he was going this time. The Baumhauer house was the same as we left it, that broken gray cone in that ruined neighborhood. Inside, dust and moths danced in the light from our phones. I yelled out, "Hey, what are you doing? In case any bums or junkies are here." No one's here. He sounded annoyed. We went upstairs to the room with the door to the attic. The ladder was already pulled down. I don't know if I like that, I said. It's cool. Let's go. And he scaled the ladder, grunting with each rung, and I followed. The tree was still there in the center, and some other things too. Some books, a few pizza box lids, a brown paper bag with bricks of coal falling out of it, a can of lighter fluid, and an old banged up saucepan. Tyler gave me his phone and told me to start recording. He knelt at the saucepan, picked up a few pieces of coal and tossed them in. Then he took the lighter fluid and squeezed a stream all over it. He picked up one of the books, opened it to the middle, and removed a matchbox. He struck a match and threw it into the saucepan. Orange wings flapped over the top. He pulled off his shirt, reached into his pockets, and removed a silver packet and a small razor blade suitcase. He opened the packet and tipped it over his mouth, letting a stream of purple leaves fall to his tongue. He bit down and gnawed. With the razor, he cut into his left arm, starting at the armpit and drawing it down, circling his elbow and forearm to his wrist in a spiral. He began to hum, warbling, bobbing his head gently. He pressed the bloodied razor edge to one of the pizza box lids and wrote 4 names in red. He carefully cut the names out in circles, delicately sawing through the cardboard. He raised each circle to his lips and kissed it, never breaking his hum, and fed them to the fire. He rocked on his knees. His hum grew louder. He stretched his right arm stiff toward the flame and locked his bloodied left elbow around it. He pulled. His hum sputtered, like tremolo, and then he yanked hard, and his right shoulder deformed and pulled from its socket. He screamed, and it felt like something else screamed too. I rushed to him. What the fuck, dude? He gasped and panted heavy, just letting his arm dangle dead. He lifted his head and looked at the tree, and then past it. Oh man. What? Do you see that? See what? I squinted through the shadow and firelight, but there wasn't anything there. That. His eyes slowly tracked around the room. You're just zapped. Is your arm okay? You don't see that. There's nothing. Is your arm okay? Okay. I helped him up. He gasped with every movement. Then I helped him put his arm back into the socket. He screamed again. We smoked like 5 cigarettes. He pissed on the fire, extinguished it except for a few final embers. We left and biked back to his place and passed out. The next morning he finally let me go back home. Jill. Something went out in his eyes. His skin stayed the shock white it had gone the night he'd been stabbed. He shivered in the heat, shoveling purple-gray leaves into his mouth, humming under his breath. Did you change your bandage? Tyler looked away and nodded. Are you lying? He didn't say anything. How about I change it? I need to sleep. Maybe you should go. I came up close and hooked my chin over his shoulder. Let me take care of you. He exhaled deep. Okay. We went to the bathroom. I got some gauze and ointment out of the cabinet. He sat on the toilet and took his shirt off. The gauze on his wound was solid brown. I began peeling it away from his skin. He hissed and pulled away. I'm sorry, I said. Okay. He tensed and let me pull all the way off. The wound was swollen red, a thick layer of crust over the slit. Not just crust, purple-gray flakes, pushed into the gash. I changed my mind. Tyler turned from me. I'll do it myself. You should go. Lou. My dreams changed. I couldn't tell whose body it was anymore. I could have been in hers, or her in mine, or just me, or just empty. The space is mossy, round like the peak of a rock, like the top of an enormous cable. Grass like nails and springs. I almost can't breathe. A sheet billows in the wind. It has a face. I woke up gasping, a sliver of something foreign buried in my frontal lobe, something like an eye that wasn't mine. I went downstairs to the kitchen, got on my knees by the table where Tyler had sat, craned my neck underneath. There were carvings in the wood, a series of squiggly lines tangled up, an oval with 3 circles resting at the bottom. The carvings looked like a poster I'd seen at Dad's office, a circulatory system. I didn't tell my parents. Amir. I didn't hear from Tyler for a couple days after that. I buried the time playing video games and watching porn. Then around 10:30 p.m. on Labor Day, I got a text. Tyler, yo, meet me at the football field. Me, it's way late. We got school tomorrow. Tyler, meet me. It's important. I pulled on some jeans and a hoodie and crept downstairs, out through the garage, holding my lighter out like a torch. I unlocked my bike, mounted, and pedaled out into the ink blue night, coyotes wailing through the mountains. I passed over Birch Brook and Lawrence Drive. Kinsfield High slid into view. The night cast the school black and blue, except for a halo of floodlights behind the main building. I rolled across the parking lot, up onto the grass, across the basketball court toward the football field. Passing the gym, one of the windows was broken out. The glass was slick with warm dew. I got off my bike, parked it against a wall, and started walking out into the field. A figure stood out by one of the goalposts. Tyler, his phone out, held upward. Yo, what's up? He turned and smiled, then pointed to the top of the goalpost. I looked and saw, and then I took out my phone and started taking pictures too. Jill. The walls are coiled. The 4 boys are here. I can't see their faces, but I know who they are. The walls slither. They coil away from us in turn. The walls are a single mammoth tube, a serpent with no face, just a smooth, round nub at its end. It buries its nub in the black, muddy earth. The boys approach the serpent's body. As they stride, their skins snag on the air, and the air lifts their skins from their bodies. Their skins separate and rise from their frames, like a magician's kerchief, lifting from where a box or a birdcage had been. The boys are void beneath their skins. The skins dangle in a gust, limp, wrinkled, and ragged, like billowing shopping bags or spider webs. They float there forever. They can never be filled again. Behind the serpent's blank face, I can see it smile. My phone buzzed beneath my pillow and I jolted awake. 3 messages. Tyler, meet me at the football field. It's important. Need you. It's emergency. Football field. I called him. He didn't pick up. Harvey lifted his head, looked at me, and then slumped back to the comforter. Me. Baby, what's wrong? Tyler, emergency. Come to the football field, please. I pulled on some clothes and biked over there, toward the lights behind the main building, past the bleachers. 2 people stood by the goalpost, Tyler and Amir, their hands raised at arm's length toward the sky, clutching their phones. Almost there. Tyler saw me, smiled and waved me over. I got off the bike and ran toward him. What's wrong? You made it. He leaned in and hugged me. That means so much. His eyes left mine and moved up toward the top of the goalpost. At first, I couldn't tell what it was. Several large, dangling objects. When I realized, I nearly choked. I turned back to Tyler, still staring up at the bodies, his eyes wide and wild. It's really weird, Amir said. Like taxidermy. Amir. Jill seemed bummed, like she was about to throw up. I don't even know why he brought her. Chicks never got that stuff. I zoomed closer on my phone, and the dangling bodies looked almost like they were stuffed with cotton, their crotches wet and dark, coffee-colored sludge dribbling from their pant legs. They swayed in the breeze, almost like art. Trevor, Tad, Chris, and Jason, gone forever. It's beautiful, Tyler said, sucking on purple-gray leaves. Lou. Pictures of the 4 boys filtered through the forum. Some videos, too, their forms dripping and swaying pale. The background noise sounded like a party, smiles in everyone's voices. Other pictures were of the gathering itself. I saw Jill, her face dry but dripping inside. I saw Tyler. He stared right at me through the photo. I stared at it until it almost seemed to move. Then I closed the laptop and crawled into bed. Jill. Tyler said I could go if I wanted, but I stayed. I knew that if I left now, I'd only be alone with the images repeating in my head. The boys' bodies, or the slit in Tyler's gut, or other awful thoughts without form or sense. I was trapped, like the summer before, back in the hospital. Amir. About 100 kids flooded the field, wasters and dudes from the football team, all capturing the dirty boys' wreckage on their phones. Holy shit, one whooped. That shit's crazy. My phone bleeped with notifications. Dozens of kids changing their profile pics to shots of the hanged boys. Someone broke into the AV room and pumped music through the PA, warped synthetic bass throbbing like blood, crisp snares and hi-hats slicing through the humid night, an angry and somber voice soaring above it all. You know, I say that I am better now, better now. I only say that 'cause you're not around, not around. The other kids on the field laughed and sang along, while coyotes wailed from the mountains. Tyler left to go pee somewhere. Jill gawked at me. Don't be such a pussy, I said. She turned away. More kids poured in, including Tasha. We pretended like we didn't see each other. The field reeked of fresh-cut grass and soiled everything. The cops still hadn't shown up. I think I heard someone crying somewhere, but it could have been something else. And like that, summer was over. Nine. Lou. The high school's floor was comprised of gray and wine-red hexagonal tiles, dirty lines of charcoal caulk rotting between them. I never stepped on the lines. I pictured the lines cutting through my feet, snapping them in half, then cutting apart the rest of my body as I collapsed across them. I knew that'd never happen, but the vision felt like truth, so I always stepped on the tile centers. At lunch, I closed my eyes. I pretended my apple was poisoned, that my thermos was a gun. I pretended I was already all the way gone, long buried far beneath the earth. Jill. I'm somewhere else now, other, but still familiar. The woods, an older body, a house, a scrap of fabric like a face, a body like a long piece of rope. I woke, twisted in my sheets, breathing shallow, Mom calling my name from down the hall, Harvey groaning and pawing at the bottom of my door. I checked my phone, 7:35 a.m. I got up and let Harvey out, his nails clattering on the hardwood toward the living room, went to the bathroom, brushed my teeth, no shower, just deodorant and a splash of water on my face, got dressed, texted Tyler to let him know I'd be late, ate an Ativan, then another. I missed the bus, so Mom had to drive me in. She dropped me off and I headed toward the front entrance. I took off my backpack, unzipped it and pretended to look for something, watching as she pulled out of the parking lot. Then I cut around toward the fields. Last semester, Tyler and I would meet before first period at this cluster of dying birch trees. They looked like giant, half-buried skeleton fingers. We'd talk and smoke or fool around or whatever. I'd assumed it'd be the same this year, but he wasn't there. I texted him again. No response. Not even an alert that he'd read my message. At 8:05, I left for class. I looked for him again between first and second, but he wasn't in the hallways. Maybe he was skipping, or home with a bug. I messaged him again. At lunch, I found Amir sitting outside by the basketball courts, alone. I asked if he'd seen Tyler since last night. Nah, probably sick or sleeping in or something. Did he say that? Have you talked to him? Do I look like his mom? I wanted to tell him to go fuck himself, to jab my thumbs in his eye sockets, to ruin him irrevocably. But I just walked away, hands shaking. I kept looking until I saw Lou approaching. I turned around before she could say hi. I went to the girls' room and ate lunch in the stall. Amir. I lied to her. After the football field, we went back to his place. He was manic, pulling out the books and papers and pizza box lids from under the gross couch and stuffing them in his backpack. A house is a fucking jail cell, he said. It's dead fucking row. Let's go. I have to, go home. You can do that after. We've got school in 4 hours, dude. Come on. We left his house, and he led me up Highland Avenue to Marvelous Lockers Storage Park. What are we doing? Getting some stuff. What stuff? Just some stuff. He walked down alleys and alleys of storage units until Tyler stopped at one. He fished a key out of his pocket. Is this your mom's? Yeah. Where'd you get the key? Doesn't matter. Tyler unlocked the bottom of the metal door and yanked it open. He tapped on his phone's flashlight and shined it through the unlit maw. The unit's maw. Tight columns of cardboard boxes, stained and musty. All right then. He crossed the threshold and started slitting open boxes with his box cutter. I thought you lost that, I said. He didn't respond. I tried to help, found mostly old plates and silverware, heirlooms, damp clothes. Okay, he said, kneeling over a box. I peered over his shoulder. The box was filled with binders, notebooks, and photographs. Tyler grabbed a handful of photos, flipping through them. He laughed and handed me one, a picture of a man with his face pressed close to the hood of a red pickup truck, blowing a line of coke. It looked like it was from the 80s or the 90s. Is your dad? I said. He nodded. He put the photos in his backpack, grabbed a few of the notebooks and binders, paging through them, stopping at certain parts before stuffing them in too. Then he stopped. Slowly, Tyler lifted a small black object from the bottom of the box, a pistol. He turned, his eyes saying about 1,000,000 words, but none I understood. He looked away and placed the gun in the backpack too. We didn't talk at all on the walk back to the neighborhood, the air still warm from the day before, the sky on the cusp of streaking pink. We reached his street. I'll see you, he said. What about school? I'll see you at school. And then he left. I got home and crept upstairs. Tasha stood sleepily in the bathroom doorway. I whispered, "Don't say shit," and went to bed, lying there about an hour before my alarm went off. Downstairs at breakfast, Tasha turned to Mom and said, "Amir went out last night." Mom raised an eyebrow. "Is that so? He got home at like 5 in the morning. I wanted to punch her shitty fucking teeth in right there, but just shoveled up more Golden Crisp instead." "You're going to give me an aneurysm," Mom said. The school bus rumbled onto our street. "Go. We'll talk about this later." We headed outside. Just as the front door closed, I kicked Tasha in the back of her calf and made her fall and skin her palm. She started to cry, but I helped her to her feet, told her to shut the fuck up, and we got on the bus. I grabbed an empty seat far away from her and slumped against the window. As we pulled onto the road, I noticed a black and beige shape on the sidewalk. A goose, but everything about it was wrong. Its neck broken, twisted into a spiral. It dragged its head along the ground, waddling in circles, screaming. No one seemed to notice except me. Jill. Third and fourth period dragged and passed, and there was still no sign of Tyler. I texted him between classes and tried calling when school let out. Nothing. I walked home, went to my room, texted him again, and finally called his mom. "Yeah?" she answered. "Hi, it's Jill. I know who it is. What do you want?" "Just if Tyler was home?" My voice shrinking. She pulled her mouth off the receiver and called his name. "Nope. Figured he was with you. Or the boys." "Did he stay home sick?" A pregnant silence. "God damn it. I'm going to kill him. So he blew off class today." "I don't know. I'm sorry." I hung up. I grabbed my sides. "You fear the worst because you'd been stupid not to. You've been fearing the worst for so long. Anything else is just unthinkable. Imagine a single image collapsing all other considerations and possibilities. A hazy blue early dawn out deep in the woods. A rope strung over a tree's thickest branch. A distended shadow swaying beneath it. I called Amir. 6 rings. No answer. Called again. Straight to voicemail. Tremors running through my fists and forearms. I called Marlon. 4 rings. "Hello? Hey, have you seen Tyler? I saw him yesterday. What's going on? Can you call him for me?" "Yeah, sure, but what's going on?" "Just, please. He doesn't have to talk to me. I just want to know he's around." "Okay, yeah, okay." Now his voice had a shake to it. I'll call you right back. I hung up and waited. He called back almost 5 minutes. After almost 5 minutes. So, I left a message. Oh, my voice cracked in half. I'm sure he's fine. It's probably nothing. I hung up and pressed my palms into my eyes. It was all black and green in there. I could see Tyler, his back to me, walking slow through olive gray dark, brush and tree trunks at his sides, dissolving in and out of light. He turned and smiled wide, his face like a bag. I opened my eyes, and for a moment he was still there, before dissolving into my room in the present space, like he'd never been here to begin with. Lou. I overheard kids talking about how Tyler was maybe the next suicide, so after I got home and ate dinner, I went straight up to my room. I took my left hand in the other and cracked my knuckles gently, rolling my head around my neck one way and then the other. I reached my hands back beneath my shirt and scraped my shoulders pink. I took my right hand in the other and cracked my knuckles gently. I opened the laptop and opened the forum, but there was nothing yet. Amir. I messaged Tyler, asking where he was. He got back to me after half an hour or so. Tyler, it's cool. Had to fuck off for a minute. I said it was no problem, that I'd catch him tomorrow. I went home and got high, played Martyr's Axis, and watched videos of glass balls exploding under a hydraulic press. I went to bed late, trying not to think about the gun in Tyler's backpack. Jill. The front door pulled open and Mom stepped through, paper bags in her arms. Hey, honey, are you okay? I don't know. I don't think so. What's wrong? Tyler isn't anywhere. What do you mean? He's got to be somewhere. Mom, no one knows where he is. Okay, calm down. Did you talk to his mom? Yes, I talked to everyone. No one knows where he is. He's probably just doing something on his own. No, I screamed. I fell apart. He's gone. He's gone. I know he's gone. She pulled me into her arms, rocking me side to side, and I sobbed into her shirt. Shh. Shh. I don't know what to do. She pulled back and looked me in the eyes. You want to take a drive? See if we can't track him down? That's when I realized she really loved me. We checked beneath the Lily Williams Bridge. We walked the trails running from the suburbs to the marshes leading out toward nothing. We peered through the windows at Regal Lanes, which had closed for good the week prior. There was a single car in the parking lot, idling, a tube running out of the exhaust pipe and through the driver's side window, a silhouette in the driver's side. Mom told me to wait here. She advanced on the car, slowly, and peeking inside the window. She knocked on it, shouted, "Hey," at it. I wrapped my arms tight around my stomach. She came back with glassy eyes, taking out her cell phone. It's not him, she said. Mom called the cops, but I begged her to let us leave before they got there. And she looked at me sad and nodded, and we left. The sun was almost gone. Amir. I float above the treetops. 2 women and a man stalk through the woods below. One of the women cries like a hideous wind. A sound makes me happy and frightened, and I'm not sure why. Lou. Crazy Bob said it was going to be a good night. Some people were already posting about Tyler. Someone suggested making a wager. Another asked why we'd never thought about that before. That's allowable, said it would get the forum shut down in a heartbeat. Pig 800 09 04 2018 1945. Oh, right. Unlicensed gambling. Bees 911 09 04 2018 1948. That's not unlicensed gambling. That's a fucking assassination market. Jill. I made her take us to the abandonments. We walked through the cemetery and up the hill. We're not sneaking in like a couple of criminals, Mom said. She made us wait at the chain link for the patrol car to come around. Its headlights cut through the dark toward us. She waved at it with both hands. It burst into the white-blue strobe. Harvey barked like mad and pulled forward on his leash. The front doors opened and 2 silhouettes emerged, their hands on their waists. The one on the left shined a flashlight over our faces. "Control your dog," he said. I pulled back on the leash, trying to angle my body in front of Harvey. "It's okay." Mom kept her hands in front of her. "Is that you, Ben?" "Meryl?" one of them said. His voice wasn't familiar. "Yeah, and Jill." "What the hell are you doing out here?" Ben Gibson. It had been so long. I'd forgotten he'd become a cop. When he was 14 and I was 10, he'd shown me the swastika he'd tattoo on his leg with a needle and a broken pen. Then he asked if I wanted a kiss. "We need help." He came in and gave us each a hug. His neck smelled like beer. The other cop, probably the same age as Ben, kept his hand on his waist, staring at Harvey. After Mom finished telling him what was going on, Ben sent the other cop back to the car and told us he'd take us through the abandonments. Amir. He's a moth. His body is just yards of canvas tossed in a pile. I can't see his face, but I know it's him. His body stretches wide like a balloon, filling with fluid and miscarriage. His skin breaks on an angle, popping, letting his insides out into the air, collapsing wet in a heap, his ends connecting, life going on forever. No, I'm the moth. Lou. Crime scene photos of Douglas Carver made it to the forum. Eyes closed and mouth open in the front seat of a car. Posted by CMVL SU 333. The pictures put tiny holes in my sides. I breathed through each one. Jill. Harvey mewled and shook at my side. Ben shined the light ahead, over the pines, rocks, and rubble. The surroundings grew familiar under his light. I hadn't expected that. We were retracing our steps from the first night. There was the burnt-out school, the collapsed cabin, the four-wheeler mass grave. Then there was the hill, and the pointed gray house on top. As I stepped through the front entrance, my head was swallowed by a migraine. Ben wobbled on his knees, breathing deep rasps. Harvey stayed right under me, whining louder now. "This isn't good," Mom whispered. "Kinsfield Police," Ben called. There was no reply, no panicked shuffling against the floorboards. He shined the lights through the rooms, over familiar debris and fresh beer empties. We went upstairs and it was just as vacant. The ladder to the attic was already down. Harvey snarled at it, hiding behind my calves. I gave the leash to Mom and ran at the ladder. Mom and Ben called after me, but I was already up and through the hole. The room was cold. I flipped on the light on my phone. There were the piles of boards and the dead tree in the iron pot, and two more things set in front of it. A saucepan filled with charred matter, freshly burnt, with a mild glow of embers in the bottom. Beside it was a length of rope, coiled into a perfect spiral, one end fashioned into a noose. Nothing else. "Don't run off." Ben came up behind me and grabbed me by the wrist. He brought me back downstairs and the three of us left. Mom said that it was actually a good sign we didn't find him. That maybe he just had a bad idea and then thought better of it. She told me it was going to be okay. I texted and called Tyler again, and then his mom, and then Amir, and Marlon. No one picked up. No one replied. Lou. The post was up for only 10 minutes. The subject line was //////. The poster's handle was the same. I clicked on the link and my insides twisted to spines. The image was of a boy dangling by his neck, a broken snake. He was naked, and the dusk or dawn light cast his alabaster body blue and pink, like the world snapping in half and spilling raw milk into space. Familiar scars and cuts on his skin, his face distended but not unrecognizable. A holocaust. My phone buzzed on my desk. Jill. I didn't respond. I turned back to my keyboard and clicked reply. Misty Payne, 09/04/2018, 21:17. Where is this? Clicked refresh, clicked refresh, clicked refresh, clicked refresh. One new response. Click the link. / 09/04/2018, 21:20. Do you see me? Misty Payne, 09/04/2018, 21:23. Where did you take this? Clicked refresh, clicked refresh, clicked refresh, clicked refresh, and then it was gone. The post and the pictures. I clicked the back button. Oops, that page no longer exists. I opened my history and copy and pasted the exact URL into the navigation bar. Pressed enter. Oops, that page no longer exists. Like it'd never been there.